AP40 PH-2B headed for Hackettstown. It's a very warm September 15, 2021. I just got off New Jersey Transit train 1159 from Hoboken here at Ramsey, New Jersey. Ramsey Main Street. Gonna do some buffing of the rush hour, hopefully right to the very end when it gets dark. And this is the Ramsey train depot, which was built back in 1868. One of the oldest, if not the oldest, active train station in New Jersey. Ramsey is an interesting town. It's considered by many to be the unofficial rail fan capital of northern New Jersey, although there are several other towns that could fit that description. But it just seems that rail fans materialize out of thin air in this place. I don't know if they're being beamed down from the USS Enterprise or what, but they just come down and they're there. I have to talk to Scotty about that. Ramsey is one of the more attractive towns in Bergen County, New Jersey. It's a great place to watch trains too. During the evening rush hour, you got a lot of trains that some of them run with a lot of old locomotives, General Motors diesels. And you got the Port Jervis fleet, 8 of them, which scream through here between like about 4:30 in the afternoon and about 8:30 at night. Got some nice railroad props here with these signals guarding both tracks. Trains can run in either direction on both tracks. Well, one of the real gems in this town is Brady's at the Station restaurant. It's like a Irish theme. Get nice hot dinners, lunches. They have a tent in the rear of the building, which is along the tracks, and you can get some good trackside dining and spirits. Could this be XO4 at 350? Yep, I saw that locomotive in Hoboken on the head end of train 49. He's usually through here a lot later than this, but they're only running as far as Suffern today due to track work beyond there to Port Jervis. And here at Ramsey at 352 is train 1113 from Hoboken to Suffern. The lower numbered 1100 series trains go via the main line east of Ridgewood, and the higher number 1100 series trains go via the Bergen County line east of Ridgewood. This train is piloted by one of the troublesome Alstom PL42 ACs. But you gotta love that EMD prime mover in them. Well, at 357, here comes something I was not expecting. Looks like an NS local, the H55 maybe? Usually goes through here a lot earlier than this. was a nice bonus, a couple of GP38-3s, one on each end. Incidentally, earlier that X04 that I saw, deadheading back to Hoboken, he normally deadheads from Middletown, but the train 49, that was his outbound counterpart, didn't go that far. Went only as far as Suffern due to track work. And X04 returned to Hoboken earlier. He was shoved by GP40FH2 number 4905. And no French onion soup anymore on that train. Time is 4:22, approaching his train 11:20 from Suffern to Hoboken, and we got 11:61 stopped at the station, bound for Suffern. PL42 ACs are wild. He's approaching the next crossing, the last crossing before Suffern at Gertsen Plaza. Train 66 should be following 11:20, running only from Suffern to Hoboken today instead of Port Jervis due to track work. And this could be 66 at 4:35. He doesn't stop here. Shoving fast is a Metro North painted F40 PH-3C 4910. And at 4:46, here comes the first of the Port Jervis fleet. Train 51, Hoboken to Port Jervis. First stop is Suffern. Those Port Jervis trains are about the most popular trains to watch here in Ramsey. More often than not, they have the older power, as that one did, an F40 PH-3C, Metro North colors. And departing Ramsey at 5:16 is train 1117, Hoboken to Suffern, with yet another PL42 AC. That's okay. And approaching at 5:23 is the next Port Jervis train. Train 53, Hoboken Port Jervis. First stop after Secaucus is Suffern. Looks like he's got a Jeep. Powered by GP40H, GP40PH-2B 4214. And approaching Ramsey at 5:39 is train 1165. Hoboken to Suffern. Looks like he's got a Metro North F40 PH-3C on the point. Remember how I was telling you about how rail fans seem to pop up out of thin air, like they've been transported on a beam from the USS Enterprise? I think tonight the beam is busted. And 5:55 approaching from Suffern to Hoboken is train 1124. Got train 55, Hoboken to Port Jervis. He's due around now. L42AC number 4004. Rail fans affectionately call these engines big boys because they have the same 4000 number series as the Union Pacific big boys. The most coveted of these is 4014 for obvious reasons. Ah, 55 is coming. The signal is beckoning him. This guy has a GP40 FH2 on the point. Those are some of the most impressive fast trains you could see in this country. Now it's 6:11. Here comes a train I've been waiting for. I've been holding off dinner until he comes through. Train 1167, Hoboken to Suffern. He's going to have the pride and joy. The CNJ Heritage Unit number 4109, GP40 PH-2. Highly coveted. is a beauty. Never gets old. During the summer months in July, that engine was operating on a Raritan Valley Line train for a retired engineer with 53 years on the railroad. He started out on the CNJ, ran a lot of those engines. He ran that train to Raritan on his final run, Frank Strunk. 53 years on the railroad. This should be train 57 for Port Jervis by 6:26. I got the best seat in the house at Brady's at the Station restaurant. Won't miss a thing. I got a Hoboken bound train arriving at 6:33. Shoving is an F40 PH-3C 4912. And that was train 1180, Suffern to Hoboken. Well, pulling out of the station at 6:38, he's a little early. Train 1169 from Hoboken to Suffern with one of those PL42 ACs. And you can see what I have to enjoy here. Train of double-deckers passing the sunflowers you see there on the left. They got lots of sun today, that's for sure. Very warm day. The humidity wasn't that oppressive compared to July and August. September it's not so bad compared to the summer months. 7 o'clock, this is for train 59. Hoboken to Port Jervis. First stop is Harriman out of Secaucus. The hottest train on the Port Jervis runs. Train always seems to have a PL42 on it. Here comes 61 for Port Jervis. The time is 7:10 p.m. as the sun is set. Days are getting shorter. It's mid-September. Don't have those long days like we used to have, but it still feels like summer. Warm, muggy day, but glad the sun went down. It doesn't feel too bad. Hang around here for another nearly 2 hours. Hopefully we'll see an SH-70. We'll see the CNJ once more. A couple more Port Jervis trains, and hopefully NSH. Here comes train 1171 from Hoboken to Suffern at 7:10. He's got a Jeep. There's no mistaking that high headlight. train stops here at Ramsey, the gates go up. And they only go down once he pulls up to the crossing. Express trains, they go down and stay down until the train clears. You gotta love New Jersey Transit's fleet of dinosaurs. Well, approaching now at 7:20 is train 1128 from Suffern to Hoboken. You should have the CNJ unit on the rear. This view kind of takes on the image of a Winston Link photograph that I've seen. Very lovely. And 7:34, this should be train 63 for Port Jervis. This guy sounds like he's going to stop. That Port Jervis train might run around him. Both tracks have green signals. get the symbol on that, but 63 is due around this time, and it would appear he's going to be running on the near track. All right, here comes 63 now at 7:40. Train we saw before on track 1 was 11:25. Hoboken to Suffern. This guy's going to be barreling right on through. It looks like he's got a Jeep. He may have been moving at a healthy speed, but that was the most unhealthiest horn I've ever heard. Well, the lead unit on that 63 was GP40 FH2 4904. And from what I've heard from rail fans around here, that horn has a reputation for being thoroughly asthmatic, uninspiring, and detestable. Remember how I was telling you about how rail fans materialize out of thin air and you just don't know where they come from? Like maybe they come down from the USS Enterprise? Well, Scotty got the machine working. There they are. Got Ramapo Valley Rail Fanning, excuse me, and NJ Rail Fanning on the right. Hi guys.
What's up?
How's the USS Enterprise?
It was great.
Say hello to Scotty for me. All right. Well, it's 7:57. We got X112 here. Suffering to Hoboken. He won't be stopping. Approaching now is NSH70 from Oak Island to Campbell Hall. And you just witnessed local train H70. The train runs out of New Yard and Secaucus to Campbell Hall. Power is a couple of browbeaters, SD60Es. Typical power on that, although there are exceptions. And approaching at 8:07 is train 1125, Hoboken Suffern. He's got a Jeep on the point. You could hear him applying the dynamic brakes as he pulled in. There was little doubt that locomotive had an unrestricted horn. We got another Jeep on train 1175, Hoboken Southern at 8:17. They were always welcome. GP40 FH2 it looks like. This has the lone Metro North painted GP40 PH2 4906. It's been a good night for the older power as the night wore on. Well, here comes our final Port Jervis hotshot of the day. I saw all 8 of them at 8:33. Soon he'll be slowing down for Ramsey Route 17. Those trains put on quite a show here. Scratch that. That train makes Suffern the first stop after Secaucus. And we just got off train 1132 at Secaucus. I got on this train at Ramsey. Shove away to Hoboken. I believe we have some dinosaur shoving on the rear. And off with a roar to Hoboken, his next stop, including a fabulous day on New Jersey Transit, watching diesels, old and new, but mostly old, and some Norfolk Southern trains, and of course, the CNJ unit. What have we here in Jamaica Station? Some kind of a work train. like a M9 test train on track 8. I saw car 9140 in that consist. One of the newer ones that they got. And while I'm waiting for my Babylon train here at this 45-minute layover in Jamaica, I'm getting quite a bit of entertainment. An EMD SW1001. How often you see those on the railroad? Those are like baby GP38s. They sound like GP38s, but they're only 1,000 horsepower.